Chapter 57. Division. Hiroshi stood alone on the road, behind him echoing the chilling screams of agony. After a while, the screams subsided. The thugs had lost their humanity, their bestial nature unleashed, and they could never return to being law-abiding citizens. Thus, the self-defense team members showed them no mercy, dispatching each one with a bullet. Simon staggered over and collapsed in front of Hiroshi with tears streaming down his face. "Boss Hiroshi, letting me take revenge personally, I am grateful to you. If you ever need me in the future, I will go through fire and water, no matter the cost." Hiroshi turned his head and saw the self-defense team members. They looked at him now with admiration, even a touch of fanaticism. This was exactly the outcome he desired. Through this incident, he had successfully established authority among the people of this small town. In the future, if he needed their help, they would not hesitate to provide it. This town served as the outer barrier for his farm. Naturally, Hiroshi hoped to have unquestionable command within it. That way, he could pursue any endeavor without hindrance. "I've said it before. I will help you reclaim what you've lost, as long as you follow me." Hiroshi paused, then raised his arm. "With guns in hand, follow me." Roar. The self-defense team members roared, raising their guns high. Hiroshi looked into the distance. That was the direction of the thug's stronghold, their next target. 20 minutes later, a large freight truck slowly halted in an open space in front of the thug's stronghold. Hiroshi stepped out of the cab, followed by the self-defense team members who had been sitting in the cargo area. Earlier that morning, Jimmy had used this truck to transport the self-defense team members to their ambush point. It had been parked 500 meters away from the ambush site until Wells and his men were dealt with. Now, Jimmy brought it back to retrieve all the food from the stronghold. At that moment, a window on the second floor of the hotel was shattered, and a gun barrel protruded, firing a shot. The bullet struck the ground less than 5 meters in front of Hiroshi and kicked up a cloud of dust. Hiroshi looked expressionlessly at the broken window on the second floor. A figure was hidden behind the glass, quickly darting away. Wells had planned to attack the farm earlier, and undoubtedly, there were people left behind in his stronghold. Their numbers wouldn't be few. Thinking this, Hiroshi gestured lightly. Simon and another self-defense team member dragged Wells' corpse over and threw it directly onto the ground, deliberately positioning it face up so that all the thugs inside the stronghold could clearly see the state of his demise. "I know you can all hear me and see your boss." Hiroshi took a deep breath and shouted towards the hotel's second floor. "If you don't want the same fate as your boss, come out and surrender your weapons. Otherwise, when we storm in, surrender will no longer be an option. You either die here, or we kill you all." Hiroshi's voice was penetrating, clearly audible even in the vast wilderness. Including the 5 thugs currently hiding inside the hotel, they all stood in the room where the gun barrel had just appeared, staring at each other, sweat beading on their foreheads. "Damn it, even the boss is dead. What are we resisting for? Surrender." A burly man with a dark complexion was visibly terrified, his hands shaking slightly as he gripped his hunting rifle. "There are too many of them, and their equipment is better than ours. If we fight, we don't stand a chance." When Wells was attacked earlier, a thug had managed to radio for help briefly, but the transmission was abruptly cut off after a brief message. "Under attack. Need urgent support?" Upon receiving the signal, they had wanted to go out and rescue him. However, they feared falling into a trap set by the attackers, and Wells had specifically instructed them not to leave the stronghold for any reason. He warned them that their lives were forfeit if anything went wrong with the food warehouse. That scared them enough to remain inside. Anxiously waiting for 20 minutes, they did not receive Wells' triumphant return, only his corpse unceremoniously dumped in front of them. "No way. We can't surrender. We've committed capital offenses. Don't forget, we all have blood on our hands." The thin, wiry thug standing in front of the window ledge gritted his teeth fiercely. "If we surrender, even if they don't kill us, we'll be locked up in a dark, windowless prison for the rest of our lives. We won't see daylight again." The burly man glanced fearfully at the wiry thug. The wiry thug, named Tiger, was the cruelest aside from Wells and their gang. Since the apocalypse, He had personally killed 4 or 5 people who refused to cooperate in the food raids, including a fellow thug who defied his orders. Tiger's ruthlessness had earned him Wells' favor, promoting him to the gang's second-in-command. While Wells was away from the stronghold, Tiger was entrusted with guarding the food warehouse and wielded considerable authority. "If you don't want to be slaughtered, pick up your guns now, or I'll kill you first." Tiger's wolf-like eyes scanned everyone, radiating murderous intent. The other 4 thugs reluctantly raised their guns, aiming them out of the window. Hiroshi watched the building without expression. A minute had passed since his ultimatum, and there had been no response. It seemed unlikely they would surrender. "I'll give you one chance," Hiroshi announced calmly. "From now on, within 3 minutes, if anyone voluntarily surrenders and brings me the head of the guy called Tiger, I will pardon all his crimes. Remember, I only want Tiger's head. His head will be your ticket to pardon." With these words, the atmosphere in the room on the hotel's second floor suddenly changed. Tiger abruptly turned his head, glaring fiercely at his 4 subordinates. But what he saw were 4 pairs of equally vicious eyes. Downstairs, a dark smile played on Hiroshi's lips.